Hey my fellow photo aficionados, Raph here from B&C Camera. Looking to add some spark in your photos? Well, in this video we'll be giving you 10 tips to help you capture that lightning in your camera bottle. Some photographers seek out an electrifying photo by actually capturing lightning. You might be taking a walk on the wild side by getting a photograph of lightning. This process can also be tricky, but if you can get a photograph of lightning, it is mesmerizing. It offers patterns and shapes that you don't see every day. Tip number 1 is going to be a big and important one. Be safe and cautious. Although being struck by lightning isn't a frequent occurrence, you'll still want to be cautious. Make sure you keep a great distance from the actual lightning strike and, of course, stay away from trees and bodies of water to decrease your chances of getting hurt. Tip number 2, we're going to talk about some best equipment for getting the perfect shot. Ensure you get a professional quality photo of lightning by using a good mirrorless camera or DSLR camera. Don't forget a tripod. Tripods help to make sure your shot isn't shaky. When using the tripod, you'll need a long shutter speed to help capture your lightning without a blur. Next up is the importance of lenses. For this particular shot, many lenses will do the trick. A zoom lens is one of the better options. With this lens, you don't have to worry about getting too close to a danger zone. Another great option is a wide-angle lens to help grab the surroundings as well. If you don't have a DSLR, then a point-and-shoot camera capable of controlling the aperture and ISO will also do the job. Tip number 3, accessorize. Want to get a perfect photo? Look into a camera remote. Even touching your camera slightly to snap that photo can create movement. Using a remote can give you a hands-free way to obtain perfection. Another consideration is a flashlight or another source of light to help with foreground lighting. Given rainy days bring on lightning, make sure to have a camera lens cloth with you to keep your lens dry. You can also use a rain cover to drape over your camera for protection. There are some other products to assist you with a great shot. Another accessory is a MyOps camera trigger. This accessory helps capture photos just by sound. So things like glass breaking, a balloon popping, and you guessed it, thunder from lightning will trigger the camera. Tip number 4, location is everything. Some locations offer more chances to catch lightning storms than others. Regardless of where you live, you should be able to find a good spot. A good tip is to start scouting for locations that offer the perfect landscape for your photo. Knowing where you want to go before the storm starts will make the process easier, especially if the spots are closer to home. You'll want to look for locations with beautiful scenery, somewhere that isn't your bedroom window. Tip number 5, camera settings to photograph lightning. Make sure you have ample time because you'll need about half an hour to get set up. Once your camera is on your tripod, you'll want to make sure you can get the shot you want in focus. You'll want to focus on infinity while taking a test shot. Make sure the test is clear and precise. If you aren't using a mirrorless or DSLR, always use a manual focus to get an accurate image. You'll need a long shutter speed to get the lightning in action, which might brighten up the foreground. If you use a shorter shutter speed, this will ensure the foreground stays on the darker side. A faster shutter speed will make it a bit harder to catch the actual lightning bolt. Use an aperture of f5 if you are shooting an open area with nothing around you. If the photos seem overexposed, switch to an aperture of f8 or smaller. If you're still struggling with it being overly bright, then you can opt in for an ND filter. This filter will limit the amount of light reaching your camera. If anything else is in your shot, you will need to make sure you're using a small aperture for depth of field. When setting your ISO, make sure you put it to your lowest value. Usually this number is anywhere from 64 to 200. Step number 6 while you're out there on the field, double check all of your shots. Look over all your shots once you feel you've captured your bolt in action. Experiment with your settings, shutter speed, aperture, ISO, so you can make sure you took the shot you imagine. This ties into tip number 7, check to see if you need more or less light. Don't forget to always shoot in manual mode. If you have bright objects in your viewfinder, then you'll have to readjust your exposure. Those objects have the potential of making your shot way too bright. However, it can be a catch-22. A small amount of light can cause your photo to look too dark. Your bulb exposure can let you save an image at any time and start a new one right away. If you get lucky and have multiple lightning bolts at the same time, you have the option of picking out how many of them you want in your image to help you with your underexposed photos. Tip number 8, composition. Remember, lightning is the subject of your photo. In your viewfinder, it should be mostly sky. Since lightning is unpredictable, make sure you compose your images wider. You can always crop out negative space later. You'd rather have to crop negative space than only get half of your lightning bolt in the shot. This is an example of why wide-angle lenses make for a good option. Tip number 9 goes out to those who only have their smartphones on hand. Smartphones are a good resource for photographers. However, when photographing something as tricky as a lightning bolt, there can be a few hurdles. Invest in a phone tripod or try to place your phone on a stable surface to ensure your photo isn't blurry. And the last essential tip, which is a no-brainer, patience is key. Give yourself a break and remember you are trying to capture something from nature. Nature is unpredictable, so make sure you take a lot of photos and experiment with your settings. Get comfortable with your camera and its capabilities before you go out to take this shot. And that concludes this little guide on how to capture lightning in your shots. Lightning photography can be tricky, so don't be dissuaded from it if the first couple of batches don't turn out too hot. With a little time and patience, just like with anything else, you'll be quick to strike and will catch that bolt in no time. To any of the pros out there, please feel free to share some of your tips in the comments section. If you found this video guide useful, liking, subscribing, and also sharing would be greatly appreciated. Thanks once more for checking this video out. Raf from B&C Camera, signing off.